Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, back with some more tasty Strudelbug Fables. And it's episode 50, and as promised, we are finally going to see what the diddly dealio is with this cave over here. As I said in the last episode, it's been staring us in the face for about as long as we can walk this way in the, adventure field. Wow, can you tell I'm a fan of Sonic Adventure? So without further ado, let's head on in. But before we do, one ever so slight detour. This fine fellow has one last thing for us. I'm not going to get Mike Wazowski this time. Yes, I've come for the defense-boosting Iron Seed. I did a little bit of research. There are exactly 2 Iron Seeds in the game and 2 Super Peppers. We got one of each in the previous episode. We got the other Super Pepper from him ages ago, and there we go. We have our final stat-boosting item, notwithstanding the stuff in Patton's Hut, which I don't intend to cover in great detail because I'm happy with the stats as I have them. But that's it. You have no more you lie, sir. You have no more berries to give us. By the way, your name is Sun, and I've been advised to tattle him.
Hey, Gabu, is this your dad? What the feet? We look nothing alike.
You look pretty similar to us. Plus, it'd be pretty cute to hear you call someone daddy.
Excuse me, the green hues are completely different, and I will pretend I did not hear that other remark. Maybe our beetles just look the same.
Wow, so do all bees.
Hey!
Racism in the Mushroom Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, back to the cave. Okay, with that further ado having been done, Phyllis, what a surprise to see you here. Do you have any words of wisdom for us?
This is a really strange cave, isn't it? I can just feel something interesting is hiding here. You better look around.
And indeed we ought to. Now, clarification. We've been able to come here for a long time. We've not been able to do this for quite as long. Before we start, a couple of things. First of all, let's actually use that Iron Seed. Kabu is my front and center. Maybe that's a bad idea, but I want to fortify Best Boy. Now, I have not really brought anything useful as regards healing items goes. This is not advisable. Bring healing items. But I've done this on my own time. It didn't go that badly for me before. Second thing, we'll need to rejiggle our medals. As you might recall, in the last episode, we got not 3, but 6 additional medal points, 3 from the rank up and 3 for hitting the maximum rank. So let's put them to good use. Hard mode, absolutely not. Bug Me Not will not help us in here. So, actually, for that matter, Berry Finder won't help us either, so away with that. And Spy Specs also won't help us. So that gives us 11 additional medal points to sort things out with. That seems like a decent shout just right out of the gate. Just give V an extra piece of usage. Pop that onto Kabu. Heavy Throw is tempting, because I know that the other thing I intend to equip... actually... No, hang on. Okay, before I forget that I'm a world before I'm a man, I listened to that song again recently. Hasn't held... It holds up better than Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult, but both haven't aged as well as I remember them being when I first heard them. Anyway, I'm going to put Miracle Matcher onto Leaf. Now, is there anywhere where I can shave off one more medal point so that I can respumble my knirbs? Really what we're about to do, as you can infer, we're about to indulge in a fisticuff or 50. So, really this is just a question of how do you want to distribute your medal points? What does that say about your strategy? What are you capable of achieving with it? I kind of want to put Status Mirror onto Leaf. And I think that will be more useful than Spiky Bod. I hate to say it, because I love Spiky Bod. But then, is there a better use for my remaining 2 medal points? I'm gonna put Meditation onto V. I never use them, but I feel like I could... Well, that being said... Hang on, how much is... Am I even scrolling the right way? I'm looking for... Block heal is 4, so there's no way I can equip that. So, this is what I'm going in with. Yes, I know I'm not at full TP because of the Bond Berry in the last episode, but we're functionally full. After a turn or two, we'll be at full. So, what could possibly go wrong? There is a hole. We got this Amogus at the end of chapter 3, I think, and that was our first opportunity to come here. And putting that in here, it's the only item that will give us a response of any kind. That being said, I think if you try to put the Bug Ranger plush here, you might get some bonus dialogue. I managed to miss all of those somehow, even though on my personal playthrough I tried putting the Bug Ranger plushie everywhere and didn't note any additional dialogue, but anyway. No data available. Please interface with the Holo Assistant for help. Yeah, there's a lot of business going on in here. Well, for my own sanity, I'm not going to dub you into French. We'll just assume that there's some sort of language interface going on here. Or not.
Ah, the Roach dialect. Come on, Leaf, you gotta translate!
Oh, this accent is really weird. Let's see, it seems to be, Québécois. Translation complete. Welcome, challengers, welcome to the Cave of Trials! Guess we won't need to translate then. Here you can challenge many enemies you've faced before in succession in return for prizes and glory.
Prizes? Glory? Ah, yeah! This must be an ancient Roach training simulator.
Indeed, shall we start a test run? Error, no data available.
Blah, it's busted.
Loading backup assistance message. Oh, fret not, challengers. All we need is a crystal that has recorded any battles you have fought.
A crystal that has recorded our battles? Oh, bother, we've fought every battle at this point. Well, not every single one. There are some optional super bosses that we're deliberately ignoring, but for all intents and purposes...
It must be something that's been with us from the start, but what?
Do you have a
Yes! Why are we dragging this out? It's in our permit. Data reading completed, trial system online. Please speak to me whenever you're ready to start the program or you have any questions about the system.
Alright, it's prize, glory, and Holo Train whatever time.
Hello, everyone. I am Holo Train whatever time. So, Paper Mario Pit of 100 Trials. This is that. It's that, but different. What do we get? You get a... I could have the game tell you, but we'll get a little something after well, there are 50 floors altogether. Clear 10 floors for a prize. You get a prize every 10 floors is what I'm saying. Very well, let's load up the trial program. As you might guess, it starts off easy enough. Battle 1 of 50, let's go. It starts off easy enough, and there's a progression to it. In theory, these guys won't be able to do beans to us, and it'll be fine. To the point that I could just have Kabu do like a dash through and eliminate them all immediately, but they're seedlings. They're so not a threat. And even if they were a threat, any damage that they do to us, will just instantly heal off with the end of battle medals and the during battle healing medals. Hello everyone, I am during battle healing medal. This is such a non-event, it's fine. I somehow think we'll live. They have 1 HP each. As you might be able to infer from my hubris, it's not gonna stay this easy. But there is, as you can see, the end of battle, like healing medals, they come into effect after the end of the battle. Congratulations, here comes the next challenge. It's gonna basically be a tour of the game, but in battle form, only it's kind of like, I suppose, Even the Ocean. How that game has side modes where you can play just the story of the game, just the platforming of the game, or both. Well, this is like the just the platforming of Bug Fables. Compared to even the Ocean gameplay loop, is what I'm saying. Now, I really should bring better conversation having with for this, because we're gonna be here for a while. And I do have plans this evening, so it's in my interests to make this snappy and also interesting. I could record all of this and then speed it up and commentate it in post, but where's the fun in that? Also, This is not the only, oh, good, we're still in Snakemouth Den, apparently. This is not the only episode of this series that is going to be all about combat, I guess? But I think this should probably be the chunkier of the episodes that are combat-centric. So... I always over-worry when it comes to getting Leaf's action command right. By all accounts, I should have Leaf in the front because, what with this being Snakemouth Den enemies, or Snakemouth enemies if you will, a lot of them are weak to ice. But at the same time, they're still early game. They're still... everything's fine and good and yum. Now, I pressed X and Z at the same time there. If it had to happen eventually, better it to happen now. I should have, like, a list of topics on hand to just have as conversation while I'm doing all these battles. And I don't, because I'm prepared. And I kind of want to talk about, like, dreams I've been having lately, but all of a sudden, I can't think of any. Now, I'm gonna use Ice Rain because by the time we'll need TP, we will have healed it back from our betwixt battle moments, so it's fine. And you as well. Bear in mind, they're those guys that they get angry when they see each other being hurt, so just take them out in one fell swoosh, it's fine. Worth mentioning, by the way, there's two interesting things about this side shoop. One is, it is just regular enemies. You're not going to run into mini-bosses or bosses. Those are strictly reserved for the BOSS program, as you might be able to guess. You know, basically, the game has ways of having you challenge enemies you've fought before, and they are segregated based on their importance according to their spy cards. So, this is just regular enemies, and then mini-bosses and regular bosses are BOSS program only. I feel like it's more intuitive than I'm making it sound. Anyway, where was I? Well, I had a dream that a bunch of people managed to... so, my nephew turned up to visit a house that wasn't mine, but I was occupying it anyway, and somehow that caused some neighbors from several streets over to just exist inside my house, and I'm like, what are you doing in my house? Get out of my house! And they were like, what if we didn't? And I'm like, well, this is rude. So, there you go. That's the extent of the dreaminess that I can share with you this fine, smooth day evening. I know I said by the time we need TP, we will have healed it back. And then ever since then, I've just been non-stop using TP. Either way, we're taking out one of these enemies, and I think the Weevil is surviving this turn no matter what I do. Yeah, I thought so. That's fine. It gives us an opportunity to heal up some of the TP. What are you doing? No. Okay, you did more damage than I was expecting you to, but it's fine. And actually, looking at our stats, I think it's more beneficial for us to do nothing on this turn, because then we get that. And then that's going to compound with our post-battle healing, and there you go. You see, I can strategize. History will demonstrate that I'm not great at strategizing in this series. Like, I mean, I'm not bad, I'm just mid and sometimes miss the obvious. But, oh hey, Judas! You know, sometimes I'm bad, but in the main, you know, I'm capable of good. And again, I'm focusing on trying to heal TP, and instantly I'm just going right back to... Really shouldn't have aimed at you there, but whatever. Then have Kabu break you out of the ice, because as I learned embarrassingly late into the series, breaking ice does one extra thing of damage. Oh yeah, I forgot that you guys do that. Not that it matters, because... Bye-bye. Been so long since we've had to fight one of those, because they've been our little Welsh friends for so long. Now, I believe you can get exploration points from here, it's just because we're at the maximum rank. That's not a thing. So we would be getting, like, even at this point, like 1 exploration point per battle, that sort of thing. But we're not, because we're fully ranked in. And as I said, you could come here as soon as... yeah, as soon as the end of Chapter 3. And that then begs a question. And it's... You know how earlier I said that there are 2 things with this place, and I never said what the second thing was? Well, time at last for me to get to that second thing. You can come here as soon as the end of Chapter 3, as soon as you get the mysterious piece. And you can challenge the whole thing in that time, start to finish. You can go all the way through to floor 50. And as you can tell, it's steadily progressing through the game in terms of where it's pulling enemies from. Which begs the question, well, what happens if you come here as soon as you can and you get all the way to floor 50? Is it gonna start stowing you? Is it gonna start showing you spoilerific enemies? Yes and no. If you get to a challenge that has enemies from an area that you've not yet been, they show up as blank silhouettes, and I don't think you can spy on them for spy cards at that point, but that is what I was referring to when I was previously saying how it is technically possible to encounter the Deadlanders prior to going into, I don't know why I wanted to call it Mothiva's Lair, the Giant's Lair, the Deadlands. Because, spoilers, this goes through pretty much every enemy in the game, and Deadlanders are enemies in this game, so they're gonna show up eventually. So you can see them ahead of time in that regard. Do with this information as you please. This will... I was gonna say this will get interesting eventually. Will it? I mean, we're not even at 10 floors yet, and we're nearly 20 minutes into the episode. Well, I'm about 18 minutes into recording. So we'll see how this goes. This is just gonna be the Tess attempting to be interesting power hour for 60 minutes or fewer. But that's fine. I've been a radio presenter before. Time was... I hosted for 3 consecutive hours, 5 days a week, back in my day when I was on the airwaves. Right, what's the strat here? We're almost fully healed on TP once more, so methinks back to relying on Kabu to do a little dash through and then have this battle take 3 turns so that we heal during the battle and also after the battle? Because we're not yet at a point where I'm actively worrying about my strategy, which is good, because I don't want to be bad. That was almost a sentence worth saying. You're all going to survive this turn, aren't you? Well, oopsie woopsie. Oh no, the potato. Nope. And then... Nope. Okay. You can't have that. That is not for you to have. I need that for ingredient purposes. And I do believe that... Well, actually I'm not sure. I think any items you use in here do stay consumed once you've used them in here. Unlike the BOSS program, where if you use an item in that, it's refunded to you at the end of your challenge, whereas here, you use an item, it's used. It follows then that any items stolen from you are stolen from you for real. I don't know that for certain, but that feels right. So, have a care, wear the medal that prevents that if you're concerned. Anyway, that's 10 battles. And it's not Skyward Sword rules. You get the prize, but it's like one of them. Oh, you get heals. I forgot about that. You get heal every 10 floors as well, but you can only use it twice. It's like one of them Amazon deposit boxes. Clear 10 floors, they put a prize in there. That's banked. We don't have to quit and then come back and then fight 20 and then quit and then come back and fight 30. No, you can claim all rewards in one single run. Now, who's under the floor? What's down there? In fact, yeah, have Leaf lead, I think. Yeah, oh yeah, Arrow Worm. We're still in the desert. Pictured here, the desert. I really want to talk about interesting stuff, and I'm kind of drawing a blank. Well, I suppose I could tease something of mild interest, in that on my personal time, I've been putting together a game design document. Stop it. Oh, you poisoned me. How sad for you. Does that mean you get poisoned too because status mirror? Or are you just immune to it because you're already poison elemented? I don't know the lore here. Well, it's fine. You cannot poison me in a way that matters. And this is without me equipping any of the medals that turn poison into something advantageous. Anyway, yes, I've put together a design document for a game that I would like to make. But I recognize that I almost definitely won't make it because I lack the expertise in so many critical areas that it's just not a feasible thing. Like, I'm not good enough at art, or coding, or programming, or any of that. I'm just the ideas guy. And anyone would be completely within their rights to look at my design document and go, make it yourself, buddy. Why should I invest in this thing that is clearly just your brainchild? So, I'm aware that nothing will ever come of it, but if it does, rest assured it will be a banger. It's actually, well, a banger. It will be 2 bangers, because it's planned to be a duology. But anyway, no, actually, I will lead with Kabu, because I want to unearth you using the power of Leaf, because we are once again back up to full because of my broken-ass medal strategy. Well, it's not broken, it's fully dev-intended. I do think that, to an extent, perhaps it is something of a crutch on my part to have these heely-deely automobile medals. Like, maybe I am being cheap, maybe I should try slightly more adventurous strategies, but this is what works for me. Y'all did nothing on that turn, you should be ashamed of your hooses. By which I mean ashamed of yourselves. But yes, I think this, and the BOSS program especially, there are other things in this game that are in aid of this point as well, but these especially kind of really highlight the beauty of the medal system in this game, because by this point, you can put together a strategy that you know works for you, and there's a nigh infinite number of combinations of strategies that you could put together, and they all validly work. I would say they work equally. That's objectively not true. There are some strategies that are terrible, like coming in with no medals. Well, I make it sound like that doesn't work, but I mean, there are people who are good enough at action commands and strategizing and TP usage and stuff that actually, yeah, you could turn up with no medals equipped and still utterly thrive here. It's kind of like I guess the Pokemon school of thought of the game is only as hard as you make it for yourself. Though there's a combination of luck and skill and meta skill. So, you know, there is an element of you can't just turn up with 0 skill whatsoever and expect to do as well as someone with a large amount of skill, but depending on how you strategize, you can level the playing field. And I find that interesting and enjoyable and happy and fun and yum. So this will pierce 1. I think this is still only going to do 3, isn't it? Yeah, I had a feeling. That's fine. We can deal with the cheese grater face who's currently not in cheese grater mode. I don't even need to super block to block against that. If nothing else, it's a fun little ego trip to be able to say, huzzah, even someone as objectively mid at this game as I am can turn up and do this decently, and like, we're almost not quite, okay, I was gonna say almost not quite approaching halfway. A little bit generous on my part. We're doing fairly well for ourselves. And, well, I say all this self-effacing stuff about being mid and whatever. Maybe I should give myself a bit more credit than that. Specifically because, you know, someone could be watching and feeling that like, oh wow, this test guy is actually pretty good. First of all, there are players out there who would leave me in the dust in a heartbeat, so I'm definitely under no delusions about my skill level. But I should recognize that I do have some level of skill, because it might feel really demeaning to someone to look at me playing the way that I do. and thinking, wow, this is decent, and he thinks he's mid. Oh, well, I must be the horse's side of a plump shoe about it. I can't begin to explain the thought process behind that sentence, but I'm hoping you understand my meaning. Now, I hate that I've been recording for, well, 26 minutes by the look of it. Oh good, these guys. And we're not even halfway there? But I am planning on this just being one episode, so we'll just make deal and do. Now that could put me on a nice, neat little side tangent. Because, first of all, I just recently learned that Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, is considered a weak game in the series. It's considered among the weakest? Like, what? I refuse to acknowledge this. Okay, I don't remember the timing on you, but it's fine. It's sooner than anticipated. But the reason why I bring up the Miles Edgeworth game is, even though that's the one that did get a professional translation, that's the one with all the typos. I'm specifically referring to it consistently saying make do when it means make do. Whereas the sequel, Ace Attorney Investigations 2, which to this day still hasn't got a Western release, that has a fan translation, and they did an objectively better job because, I won't say no typos, I can't think of any offhand. Whereas the actual properly translated Ace Attorney games, there's Cout is now in session in one of the Apollo Justice ones, like, what was that about? I don't know, it's just the recurring thing of make do bothers me far more than it has any business doing. Right, what's the play here? I think lead with Kabu, hitting Caillou. As you can see, I've put Leaf in the front because I intend to use Ice Rain. Would it be more interesting if I talked through my strategy in every single battle? Because most of these battles up to this point have been fairly mindless. I do try to aim in between targets at this point, because you could spread the damage, you could spread the cost, you can buy a sofa and make memories. Ice Rain, it feels like if you hit the target dead on, then you'll get a damage bonus. I'm not sure how true that is. But if you aim in between the targets, you can hit more than one target, which just feels objectively better. Now, these are ground-type mode, so they're going to be weak to ice. That is how these guys work, so that is the operation amongst which I'm twangling. Y'all twangle. End of thought. I shouldn't be allowed to communicate with humans. I really am running dry in the comments front. Now, what do you mean you survived with one? Ugh. Well, fine. If it means this battle takes ever so slightly longer. Oh, okay. 1 damage, that's fine. We're gonna heal it in a second anyway. Right, I'll knock you down and then hit you with Leaf, because you're weak to ice and you'll have a fantastic time in so doing. One thing that I've noticed, and I've probably noticed this in the past, but the reason why it stuck with me is specifically because of the thumbnail for the episode where we reached the Roach Village, which I'm really happy with that episode title, by the way, because j'ai le cafard, which is a French expression that means like, I'm not in the best of humours. But it literally means I have the cockroach, and it's a village full of miserable cockroaches who speak French. I love that the stars aligned like that, but anyway. I was trying to do Kabu's action command there because I'm so busy thinking about French cockroaches. And I mean no offense in making them French, that's just Tess being Tess. But anyway. The Wardens look like they're the head that goes on the body that is the Haunted Cloth. Although, with the hood up like this, it's harder to see, but when the Haunted Cloths are in fire mode, it really looks. It really looks, you know, it's a drink that tastes. Now, you're in ice mode, so I can just do extra damage with Kabu, because as you'll recall, ice is weak to horn, ground is weak to ice, fire is also weak to ice somehow. Dribble, dibble, dibble, dum, dee, hee, ho. At this point, I'm just trying to play to Pokemon-esque type advantages. We've long since established at this point that using an ice attack on an ice-type enemy does not heal them, even though it feels like perhaps it should, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, bearing in mind how good I've been keeping at staying topped off on HP and TP, I really should be more reckless to make this take less time. Do you know the times? It should be fewer than this. But then again, this is me. As previously stated, it's the Tess rambles for less than 60 minutes power hour. Stop that. Duh, hey, stop that. Something, no, don't drop them here. Get ready for a real blast, it's time for Missile Fever. I feel like I should elaborate on the thoughts that I'm spiraling off making that reference, but I'm not going to. I'm running out of conversation topics as it is, but that could stay it is. You know what? I should have more thoughts about... Oh! Hi, big fellow. Hey there, big boy. This feels like another ice rain situation. So I think I'll do that and then have the others on cleanup duty. And then 2 over here. Oh, they're all frozen. Delicious. In that case, dash through and then... Like, this strategy eats up almost half of our TP. Our TP, like you're doing anything to help me. Although, actually, watching this series does help me, so I shouldn't look on the side of the horse where the butter is. I am incomprehensible to myself as well, don't worry about it. I've forgotten how I started this sentence now. The point is, my strategy may be highly fallible, but it's working. I think I should wax more philosophical about this series. I'm not sure if I really have any further thoughts to give, so... I don't know, that was a thought that went nowhere. Now, this is a good point to also point out as well. I don't believe you can save your place here. If you pick give up and then come back, we would have to start from scratch every single time. So, I'm not gonna do that. There's only 30 more battles. How terrible can it be? It does ache somewhat. Oh, great. Well, guess what strategy I'm employing once more, then? It does ache that we're not able to claim berry rewards or... Well, yeah, berries and items, you know, like just regular item drops. We can't get those from these battles, but I mean, that makes sense anyway, because they're holograms. It's just a bit annoying because, as I said, I plan on getting a load of items and doing a load of recipe clearing outness in an episode coming up, and if I could get item drops from these guys, it would be very helpful, but that's not gonna happen. So... This feels like another battle where it would be prudent to not use TP, and then... This is... I've been speaking quite broadly about the concept of meta strategy, and up to this point, I've just been using that as a shorthand for medal loadout and such like, but I suppose there is also... No. There is something to be said for... I'm always like a frame too late on that, so you're gonna need to put that down. I don't mind losing the hard seeds, to be honest, but still. Give it back. There is an element of knowing which battles to go all in on and which battles to take your foot off the accelerator for. You're gonna run away with that seed, aren't you? Bye. Well, whatever, it's a hard seed, no great loss. That's the most disposable thing that I had on me. I'm disappointed, but whatever. But yes, knowing which battles to go all in on and which battles to think, actually, I can slow down and not use TP and heal my TP back on them, which, you know, your strategy, if you're playing along for whatever reason, you might not have these medals that allow you to, like, heal HP or TP between battles or during battles or anything like that, and that's valid too. So, in that case, this whole ramble just does not apply. But, for me at least, it is a relevant point of discussion that some battles, you know which battles to hold and which battles to fold neatly in half and put in your pocket and take a bit slower. Ow. Terrible. Okay. No one gets to do anything, even you, because you have also been numbed because of Leaf's status mirror. I knew that would be a good investment. But yes, because of numbness, you get an extra point of defense, and that's why that... What matters is we got to heal, and it's part of my meta strategy and blah blah blah. Side thought. I have been getting a load of comments recently asking about, am I aware that Eurovision season is ongoing? Yes, I didn't realize just how few people realize that I don't do that anymore. Although I have sort of been dipping in and out of the shows on my own time. And you might be able to infer, I bring this up off the back of me saying blah 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 because the Maltese national final, gratitude. First of all, it took me an illegal amount of time to realize that the pun there is on gratitude, but I still realized what that pun was within the show, whereas it took me several weeks to realize that matte black is a play on matte black the color. So, there's that. But yeah, my original plan was to watch Luxembourg's national final and leave it at that because I'm just not in that bubble anymore. That's no longer my world. And then Luxembourg coincided with The Masked Singer, so I was significantly more interested in watching that instead. And also, Ireland surprised me by having actually decent songs in their national final, so I watched that instead. So, I'm not completely out of the loop. I have heard all the songs that have been chosen as of the time of recording. It's just... it's not the bubble that I occupy anymore. So, be aware of that. If someone is watching this episode in this series just specifically to leave a comment saying, hey Tess, I know you've been doing Eurovision for literally 10 years, but did you know that it's February and songs exist? Yes, I know they exist. I'm just not in that world anymore. That makes it sound like I'm upset with people for asking, and honestly, I am flattered that people care enough and are enthusiastic enough to ask me about it. I just didn't realize quite how much it fell on deaf ears when I said on Twitter, and I'm not going to call it anything else, it's Twitter, that I was done. But in hindsight, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, for that matter, I stopped using Twitter in September anyway, when they added that bollocks clause to their terms of service, where, oh, anything you tweet will be used for AI training purposes. Like that, nope, that's it, I'm out, not using this anymore. So, that, as an entire social medium, that is now dead to me. So I guess I shouldn't blame people for not seeing, bearing in mind I made the post there and not on YouTube. But yes, consider this my official in an episode of Bug Fables, I'm officially stating that, yeah, I'm not ruling out ever doing anything Eurovision related ever again. It's just not a part of my content strategy at all whatsoever. I have no new plans. I've used more or less the same wording every time someone's asked. There are no plans for new Eurovision content going forwards. That's not to say there will never be any more, but... Oh, good, Belostos, my favourite. I just don't have any plans for more at this time. And... oh, good, the music's changed as well to reflect the fact that, hey, we're getting into later game enemies now. And yet, I'm thinking this is a fold battle rather than a hold battle, by which I mean we will fold the battle up and put it into our pockets rather than holding tightly and investing TP into it. Is that in any way intuitive? Absolutely not. No. We could all stop it. Get down from there. Get down on it, and then Seth MacFarlane writes an infomercial extolling the virtues of Krek-Krek-Kien. I was on a good roll of commentary for a solid moment there, and it's just gone. Yeah, you keep picking up rocks, that's good, because these guys will do beams for damage, and Belostos, you're not worth my shoes, because I should be grateful. I've gotten relatively lucky in this battle, because Ballistosses can do quite a bit of hurting, and all it's done is use its turn to pick up a rock twice, and that takes up its turn, and it will do a lot of damage if you don't make it drop the rock, but every single time we have done, so it's fine. No. If I got better at super blocking, then this would be an even more fruitful battle in terms of healing up, but even now, we're over the halfway mark at this point, 40 minutes into the recording. I should split this into 2 episodes. But I have plans for this series. Okay, maybe I will. We'll see how it goes. Oh, good, it's the Defendy boys. I want to make some sort of joke about Cleopatra and Matahari and Defendy. No. And we don't have royal decree, so we're just going to have to make sausage and pudding. As ever, it kind of makes sense if you follow my vibes rather than my actual choice of words. I forgot which way round Iron Nails worked with their defense, so this was poor planning on my part, but it's fine. No. No. Pumpkin! I would say have a pumpkin, Maria, but not my reference to make. What are you... Oh. Oh, boo on you, I say. Well, first of all, you can do a thing, and that's bad. You can be Angela Bassett in ways I don't approve of. What I'm trying to say is these guys can inflict a status, and I don't want to have to deal with that, but I'm going to have to deal with that for one more turn, one more day, one day more. I've never actually seen Les Miserables, but when I was in college, I had friends who were very fond of that particular song from 'T. Well, it's fine. If this battle takes an extra minute, that's okay, because we're healing all the dang while. You just need to stop. Flippity flop, you need to stop. Now, Plumpling. Weak to ice? Weak to ice. Cool and good. But still too much defense for little Chompy's teeth. Aggressive pumpkin rind doing trouble for the toothy pegs. And now you're back to full again. Well, that's fine, because I can pierce your defense. Okay. We could pierce your defense and also press the Z key. One of these days, this battle will swing in my favor. This isn't even a good battle to be... We're not even struggle bussing, I'm just being bad. Clearly it's because I've hit the wall of recording for nearly 45 minutes. Do you mind that I keep checking in with the... Excuse you? Since when can you up the defending? These were already the Defendy boys, have I not suffered enough? Ay, ay, ay. Bastion mali, però destroy. Not that anyone was bringing a boat to this battle, but whatever. Now, I don't know if I'd be able to do that one bit of damage with V, and it's not a gamble I want to take. It's fine. We can resist you for one extra turn. You won't be able to do enough damage to counteract my healing anyway, or if you do it, it'll be negligible. Yeah, we're basically back at full. It's fine. Now, at this point, I feel like I should just sit down and take a break from recording and refresh on my ability to commentate, but as I said, I have plans this evening, and I can't pause this challenge halfway through, so no, we're in it for the long haul. And then my evening plans will be my reward for toughing it out. So because we're back to full, I think it should once again be Leaf's turn to be sparkle, shiny, ice rain time town, having a trouble muffin stump. Egg McMoogio go! Which is a reference, thank you Tessellating for putting that on screen, to, I saw on Tumblr someone had a receipt from McDonald's, but one of the bits on the receipt printer was stuck in the wrong position, so it made all of the text come out wrong. Basically, it made some of the characters be normal, and some of the characters be displaced by one bit. So Egg McMuffin, go to whatever website, turned into Egg McMoogio, go! Which in turn reminds me of Go! Bwah! Which is an absolutely iconic video, and it'll be nearly 20 years old at this point. Which means that the girl in that viral video who shouts go and then gets pulled onto her face by a dog on a lead will probably also be 20 or older by now. It's crazy to think that I am approximately the same age as the original Baby Sunshine from the Teletubbies. I don't know why I was about to call them the Telepuff Girls. That's two separate things. Yes, it's a team of friends who are color-coded, but that could almost be a thing, I guess, the Telepuff Girls. Which, incidentally, since I'm on a ramble, apparently, about the Teletubbies at this point, 1, I disapprove of the Tiddlytubbies. 2, I disapprove of the Tubby phone. And 3, Dipsy is and always has been best boy. And this is a hill I've been prepared to die on since birth. Well, I say since birth. For as long as I've known the Teletubbies have existed, which is most of my life, I want to say, I have been Team Dipsy. So, oh good, we can do a bit of... That doesn't change anything, because in the previous battle against a Plumpling, it had a defense boost, and I don't know if a V would have been able to circumnavigate that. Oh good, poison. Oh, well, of course you get to heal. Well, that's fine. Oh, you didn't even heal. Whatever. Now, I think I've mentioned before, and if I was smart about it, I'd go into significantly more detail. But I believe that poison, on a coding level, the burn status works exactly the same as poison to the point that the game doesn't distinguish the two, but I feel like it has to for the purposes of stuff like the Poison Defender medal and all of them. So it probably must distinguish them? I don't know. I'd have to ask an expert on that one. Hey, we're 30 battles in. Which seems... Oh, a Defense Exchange medal. Why are you handing that to me when all of our prizes have erstwhile been delivered elsewhere? Peculiar. Well, whatever. Hey, we're into Snakemouth Den, which I suppose because we've fought Belostoses and Ant Mimics and that lot, that says to me that the game thinks you shouldn't do Upper Snakemouth until you've done the Forsaken Lands? Is that what I'm to infer from here? I should have had Kabu attack first. Whatever. See, my thinking there is, because Kabu can only attack the first enemy in line, have him attack the bulky one in the middle, and it's too late for that now. Well, we're fully healed, so it is once again Ice Rain time, and I can just focus on the two at the back. Because you're both going to perish, and then Zombie can do that, and everything's cool and good. Is he? Just because it's a later battle doesn't mean to say that it has to take longer than the one that came before it, which I'm grateful for. As I said, this is still the recording session in which I have plans. Good. Now, I think it does merit commentary at this point, that I would hope that having witnessed the Zommoth and Leaf's providence? What's the word I'm looking for here? Provenance. That the zombie ants to an extent, but especially the Zombeetle and the Zombie, they should hit different now, knowing what we know about the Zommoth and what was going on in Upper Snakemouth. So, just stew on that for a fresh and diddly minute. I feel like I'm vacillating too aggressively between conservative and excessive TP usage. Yeah, conservative and liberal TP usage. We're owning the liberals with toilet paper, ? I'm joking entirely. I continue to be a non-political entity. Now, once again, for all I was saying about vacillating aggressively, I'm gonna do another Ice Rain, because they're all floating, and I have very little impulse control. So, I doubt we can do this in one turn, but let's see. Oh no, it can be done. You could all suffer. Once again, you can eat suffering while I shame you for your dingle. This was established in Billy Hatcher. I think I mentioned it in this series. If not, then it will have been Yoshi's Crafted World. I don't know. I remember I discussed it so recently. Hey, the wasps! So, there you go as well. I think not to contradict what I was saying earlier, this isn't a contradiction, but if an enemy appears in this run, and it is not a silhouette, then you can still tattle them and have it count as a spy card, I think. So, take solace in that. So, you know, if you got to this point in the game, and everything's friendly with the Wasp Kingdom, you can still tattle wasps and get their spy card data. Although that being said, I think this was established ages ago, but there is someone in the Underground Tavern who will sell you random spy card data for any enemy that you've missed, so nothing is truly missable. Stop that, that was... I feel like I was a frudge too late with my blockery there, which disappoints me. I'm better than this. You're better than this, Hexagons, and you should know it. But yes, this is an alternative that doesn't cost money to getting spy card data you may have missed, but it is by no means a guaranteed thing? Like, okay, that was poorly phrased on my part. The waves of enemies that you face in this gauntlet are consistent. You know, this specific round will always be 2 Wasp Troopers and a Wasp Scout. It's a fixed pattern every single time. So if you come in knowing that you've missed so-and-so enemy, and so-and-so enemy turns up on whichever round, then that will always be consistent. So, you know. I will have at this point clarified on screen if it is possible. Oh good, it's all of the flavors of Thief. I will have clarified at this point whether or not you can get spy card data from these guys. I'm fairly sure that you can. I shouldn't use Ice Rain when we're so low on TP, but we will heal, we will repair, we will abscondicate. We will other tessellating words. Do I have a dictionary at this point? An English to Tesperanto bilingual dictionary available now on the merch shelf below the video, except not. Oh, of course. Oh. I was going to bemoan that the one that survived was the one that had 2 attack turns, but it didn't survive, so it's fine. Now, methinks I should drag this out to extend how much healing we do, so once again, meta strategy and all of that. Except, actually, we may yet survive this turn. I could have had V do nothing and heal the TP off that way, and... You know, I'm gonna have Krispy Kreme there do nothing. Block that, take no damage, heal the TP. I should have had V do the... I realized a moment too late that I could have had V do the meditate thing and get an extra TP that way. I'm not... I suppose I am objectively hurting in that we're in the 10 range, but... You know, we're not in too bad a way as regards... Like, yeah, okay, we're at 14 TP. That's fine. Everything's fine, we'll live, we'll survive, we'll thrive, because what has this series been, if not Tess demonstrating how to get by on a shoestring budget, even when not strictly necessary? By which I mean, I've spent so much of this game having TP and not using it. So... Oh, nope, ah. No. Also no. Okay, this time, I'm not going to strategize badly. I'm going to hit you with Leaf, which will make you go into defense mode, which will then knock you back out of, because Kabu could pierce through that. And then... 4... I will hit the one at the back again, because if I hit you with... If I hit the Y... Hit the Y in the front, the guy in the front with V, he'll go into defense mode, which means Chompy won't be able to do anything, whereas if I don't, then Chompy can do 2. I'm not completely... Oh, good. I'm not completely useless as regards stratagems and such like. This has long since been established. I've rambled to quite enough of an extent that I'm not terrible. And of course, don't forget, you can unearth buried enemies by doing exactly what I just did. These guys, the strategy is to hit them with a concussive blast twice, and that topples them over and makes them unable to attack, but... Oh, good. That worked out well. Oh, great. Huzzah. Fine. I will deal with you accordingly. And These guys don't get knocked up into the air by Kabu's attack. Interesting. You'll learn something new every day, and I guarantee I will not remember this time tomorrow. So it's a learning experience for all involved. I would like to think that by this point, I'm still at least somewhat entertaining. You know, place bets. Will I survive the whole gauntlet? Things are looking promising so far, but, you know, in Las Vegas in the neon lights, your luck can turn in the throw of the dice in Las Vegas. Whoa, you better hold on tight. End of thought. Fun fact, though. I know I said, oh, I don't do Eurovision anymore, that's not my thing. And this is true. But at the end of last year, as like a little advent calendar-y thing, on the run-up to Christmas, every day in December, I did like a 10-song-a-day countdown, going through my top 250 Eurovision songs as of the 2023 season. And I want to say that Las Vegas to Sweden 2005 did make the cut, and 2009 La Voix didn't. One of them did, and one of them didn't, anyway. So, you know, let it never be said that I will shut out a song just because it's Sweden. They just don't always play to my strengths. In fact, they very frequently do not. Anyway, memory serves. Diving spiders are the ones that put up the impenetrable barrier around them. So it's in our interests to maybe take you out before you can do that. In the words of bad lip reading, I've got that crown, I'll knock you out. Grande taco. Couldn't even see the thing I was defending against there, but that's fine, that's on me. Stop doing punchy things. I want to focus on the Belostos, but you're in the way. And 26 TP, so I'm once again in, maybe I should heal my TP mode. I feel like, from all of this, like, if someone game theorily minded were to watch specifically this episode, or these two episodes if I do end up splitting it, they'd be able to infer my general battle strategy and, like, when I do versus when I don't employ strategies regarding, you know, stalling to heal, whether that's HP or TP, or when I use regular attacks, when I use special attacks, and from that, you could hypothetically code me in as a boss, because then you'd know what I would do in response to player actions? Which I suppose feeds back into what I was teasing about my plans of making a game of my own. I have all of the plans at the moment that are just tied up in assorted Google Docs. There's the game design document I mentioned. I'm still in the throes of writing a novel, which I did have to take a break from that over the course of January. It's been a busy time of life for me. But there's that I intend to go back to and finish off, so... Well, that's the thing. The thing with the novel. I'm very happy with it. Make no mistake there. But it's intended as a prequel to Chaos Potentia Est, which is my Danganronpa fan Danganronpa thing. And I feel like that has to be seen and enjoyed first in order for the novel to actually be worth engaging with. So it's kind of a tricky situation there where the thing that will be ready first has to wait until second, which is awkward. And there's stuff about it that I could share ahead of time, because the temptation is so very real to you know, that's the thing. Whenever anyone makes anything, there is always this huge temptation to be like, hey, here's a teaser of what I have because I crave feedback and validation for the things that I do for fun. And that's kind of where I'm at with the novel. But I know that, at the very least, I have seeded out teasers to my near and or dear. Because, like, I've had 2 proofreaders so far who've read... Well, it started off as a NaNoWriMo project. And obviously I've slowed down since then because of real life. But they read the NaNoWriMo manuscript, and both feedback people were very, very positive about it, which baffled my mind because, like, oh wow, I have received approval from people who really should know better than to approve of me. And it's very humbling. And also, I did like a... Well, I think dramatic reading is definitely not the right... I did like a live in-person audiobook of the first 2 or 3 chapters for my mother when I went to visit her over the Christmas period. So that was fun. I was also able to subject her to my terrible cod Irish accent because one of the main characters, or main deuteragonists, one of the significant characters is Irish. So that's fun, and the only real thing of significance that I did as regards voicing him is I knew the importance of pronouncing the word anyway as anyway. So, you know, I do overthink things. And this extends to, in a completely informal environment, reading a book. That being said, if and when the time is right for the release of said novel, I would not object to doing an official Tess reads his own book audiobook version. But, genuine question on my part, yeah, we're going into full /gen territory. When doing an audiobook, I've never actually had an audiobook of my own, so I don't know what the etiquette is. Is it acceptable, first of all, to do a voice for the characters anyway? And secondly, within those voices, is it acceptable to put on an accent for characters who would canonically have an accent? Because, I mean, I know it's rich coming from me, having done this entire series which has been full of cod accents. But is that the done thing in something as formal as an audiobook? Or is it considered offensive because, like, oh, hey, you can't use that accent, it's not yours? Because I would understand how, like, for one, that would undermine the perceived gravity of it being an audiobook anyway. So, I don't know, is that a thing? I can't imagine David Tennant sitting down for story time and then halfway through the book going like, EB-DB pudding and pie, twiddle-diddle-diddle, suddenly I'm German. Spell of banishes you to Germany. I don't know, answers in the comments below. And a thought within that as well. Okay, we're in the final 10, we're staying strong. TP Saver Medal, this was one of the big things that I wanted from here. It makes, I think you can only equip it to one bug, but it makes all of their TP costs cost less. When the time comes, I'm putting that on Leaf. But we're here for prize number 5 for floor 50, because that's the big one, that's the juicy one, that's the one that I really, really want. You all have defense. I am angry. I don't mean to emulate MatPat to quite the extent that I have done recently, because, for one, I quit my main thing on YouTube before he did. You know, my quitting Eurovision predates him quitting the theory channels. But also, I know how 2023 especially was the year of MatPat doing things that take him out of his comfort zone, like professional golf and all of that stuff. And I guess I'm kind of doing that myself. As I said, I have plans for this evening. This is still that same evening, thank you very please. And, you know, writing a book, doing an audiobook of said book. The other thing, making a game, or, well, hoping to make a game, because, strictly speaking, I have made games before, plural. Real G's will remember Tokatala Arga, which is not worth remembering, but, you know, it was objectively a game that I made and played on this channel. But I'm talking about more serious stuff, like, obviously, the thing that I have the design document for is on a completely different level from anything I've made before. First of all, it's 3D. Second of all, it's a duology. Third of all, it is much more meaty and substantial than anything I've ever made before, and I really want to see it brought to fruition. But I have made games in the past, and the big one that I have in mind when saying this is, well, I titled it Bedtime Stories. And it is essentially just an interactive anthology of 12 asterisk little vignettes surrounding a collection of my original characters. And I want to be able to share that with people. But I'm also aware that it's extremely esoteric, because it concerns 13 asterisk original characters that, for all intents and purposes, like, you could go as deep as you like in the lore of this channel, you would find next to nothing about them. You would find a morsel or two on Tumblr, but not enough to piece together the stuff that is relevant for bedtime stories. And it does go deep, and it touches on some really... it goes hard on its various themes, and it's not the sort of thing someone will be able to fully appreciate without knowing the characters. And this is not me saying, oh yes, my writing is so deep and profound you couldn't possibly understand it. I'm saying it presumes a level of familiarity and intimacy with the characters that the game itself does not spoon-feed to you, because it is supplementary material for going with characters that I already have. And with that in mind, I know for a fact that there is content in that game where if you don't have that context going into it, someone could easily look at it out of context and draw conclusions that are incorrect. Now I'm making it sound like it's extremely problematic. It's not problematic. There's stuff that is just... it relies on existing knowledge that you won't have unless you already know the characters. In addition to that, I made it in RPG Maker. But on top of that, I made it in RPG Maker VX Ace, which means that, for one, there is no means of packaging it in a neat and palatable way. It has to have a load of extra bloating files that come with it, and the only way of disseminating it is as this really sus .exe file, which, once you run it, installs a second .exe file, which you then have to run in order to play the game. Which any intelligent person on the internet would look at that and run for the hills, so I have no way of disseminating it. But also, because of the way the game is structured, it's the sort of thing where I can't really do video content on it, because by its nature, it's non-linear, and it rewards repeating stuff. Like, for some wider context, as I said, it's kind of an interactive story anthology. And for each of the stories, you get bonus dialogue if you go back and, like, read them a second time. And between that and the fact that you can go through the 12 of them in almost any order, you know, a lot of it is lost if you're just watching it as a video. In addition to, as I said, you kind of already have to know the characters. Having said all of this, I did sneak in at least one reference to that game in this series already. So, if you saw something incongruous many episodes ago, that's what that was from. But, this is one thing I hate about myself, and weirdly it is kind of indirectly addressed within Bedtime Stories as a game, because, to be completely real, the characters within it are, to an extent, you know, they're fragments of my personality given additional form. You know, I break off pieces of my soul and turn them into characters in their own right, or at the very least, I use what I have experience-wise to make characters who exist. Yeah. And where was I going with this? Anyway, yeah, okay, yeah. One of the stories addresses exactly this concern. I am all too aware that... And I'm by no means the only one who's guilty of this, I'm sure. I have a great fondness for being all these flavors of mysterious and like, ooh, I'm so, you know, I'm so unknowable and full of mystique and lovely and stuff, and like, it makes me... Oh, good, you're doing that now. It makes me feel like a bit of an attention here. Stop that. You're about to blow up, probably. So if I hit you like that, are you just gonna go boom? Oh, I was hoping you'd do a bit of spread damage there, but apparently not. Fine. Though that does segue me nicely into my next point, which is to say, I was talking earlier, or perhaps previously, about how I've not been completely out of the loop as regards Eurovision this year. And there is a song that was in Lithuania's national final. Sidebar, kind of surprised that Lithuania's national final is functionally Pabandomishnaujo in all but name. And like, oh, okay, it was working for you so well, why the random name change? But whatever. And, there was a song in that was in the final but not the super final, and it caught my attention on Wikipedia specifically because it contained lyrics in Korean, and I just wanted to see what their quote-unquote excuse was for that, or like, how was it in context? And it's by the VB Gang, and it's called Kaboom with 3 exclamation marks. And by all accounts, me being the miserable old man that I am, I should despise it because it's very DJ Crazy Times coded. But it has lived in my head rent-free ever since I heard it, and I kind of love it. Even though, oh hey, we've reached the Battle 45, we're nearly there. The only lyric in Korean in the song is the repeated line of "guksu chicken ne," which means chicken noodle, yes. And I should be so upset at, like, that is kind of reducing an entire language and culture down to just a soundbite for, it's trivializing Korean for the sake of being, haha, aren't we so wacky and random? And like, that's a bit rude, actually. But the song is a banger! And at the time of recording, the music video version is significantly shorter than the version they performed at the National Final. And the National Final version goes especially hard because for the final minute they speed up and it goes crazy. It's like if DJ Crazy Times did Shum, and I love it, and I should not love it because I am better than that. And I've explained it to those who know me. There we go, Deadlander Beta. I've explained it to those who know me as Duratess is the grumpy, neutral emoji face, and then Televote Tess is just sitting there going, "Goods of chicken, nay!" So, I'm terrible. We been new. I want you to disappear, you hideous sea cucumber. You're cucumbersome. I've made that joke before, and it was even less funny this time. Now, I was going to say, can Chompy do enough damage to pierce through that innie chest? Turns out, the Cactiling was not prepared to yield quite so abruptly anyway. Can we make be happy? Yes, we can. Fun thing that I learned recently as well, and I have not verified this whatsoever, but apparently the plural of... So, it's one of those things that, like, the thing that is known to everyone is, oh, the plural of cactus is cacti. If you say cactuses, you're wrong. That is a bridge I've been prepared to lie on for a lot of my life, because that was the truth as I knew it. What I've recently discovered is, supposedly, and I don't know if this is true, I've not verified it, but apparently it's cacti when you're referring to the segments of one single cactus, but if you're referring to several different instances, then in that context, they are cactuses. So, does that make any sense? Like, if you have 2 separate cactus plants, then they are cactuses. If you have one cactus that's several units tall, then each individual unit is a cluster of cacti. That's my understanding of it, and the more you know, which in turn reminds me, because that is how I think. I have streams of consciousness, and you're just here for the paddling. Lately, I've gotten back into rewatching just random episodes of Mario Bros. Galaxy Versus and Knuckles Chaotix Versus. This series is on my channel. And first of all... Oh good, golden seedlings! Joy. One of the episodes within that, I think I specifically called out who's going to be randomly tuning into this episode without watching the rest of the series, and like, oops, it me. Right. I think what I'll do here is be really stupid and take out this golden seedling and then see what the other one does. Because I could use TP. Oh, there you go, it fled. That was a good gamble on my part, because if a golden seedling attacks, it does unholy amounts of damage, but we could take out one in one turn and the other one can flee and it's all good, the game doesn't penalise you either way. But that does bring on a very relevant point. Well, okay, so golden seedlings, as we know, are capable of dropping tangy berries. There is a very specific, very niche reward for coming into here with multiple tangy berries in your inventory in specific slots within said inventory. So I will address that at a later point, but just know that I am aware of it. I should know your timings by now. We've had enough episodes in the Deadlands. No. I should be a bit less careless at this point because we're on the penultimate battle, but at the same time I want to save up my conundrums for the ultimate battle, so yeah. As I've said in the past, keep in mind that the Deadlanders are weak to Leaf's ice, but also that the Deadlander beta is and isn't because it's not grounded, so Leaf can't attack it. It's ew, sludge. I do really like, though, and I feel like I've not gone into great detail about this up to this point. I really like the design of the Deadlanders, because they're this really uncanny mix of, like, virusy, but also fungal. And this one has balloons, but you could plausibly be like, you know, are they, like, inorganic balloons, or has it just naturally evolved these balloon-like protrusions that it can fill with gus? Stop that was quite disgusting. And now I think lead with V. Hurricane Toss or Tornado Toss? I'm gonna go with Hurricane Toss, and I'm gonna regret it. Like, it's just plausible enough as a design choice to be like, maybe they did just evolve that way, because the Deadlands are as creepy and uncanny as that. And hopefully even with the reduction, that should be enough to take you up. There we go. So we're not in fantastic shape, but we're on the final battle, so we should be able to go all out with what little TP we have left. And it's just 2 gammas. It could be a lot worse. The aforementioned prize for coming here with a specific inventory loadout is a 51st round. A very deliberately overly difficult 51st round. So maybe be a bit less careless than me if you intend to do that. As I said, I will cover it in a future episode. But for the time being, let's just focus on giving them the business. These guys are just far enough apart that I can't attack them both. Gumpy. Angie, even. That's bad. Okay. V is down. V is down, and Leaf is asleep. Not good. I could use Kabu to revive V. It would be wise for me to do that, I think. Because V is the only one who can't come back to life independently, whereas the other 2 have Miracle Matter on. So yeah. And also, it would be prudent to use Sharing Stash, but that would kill her, which is not permissible, and this would take 3 and heal 4, so it would essentially spend a turn to heal 1 HP. Not really viable. Do we have any worthwhile items to use? I'm kind of thinking that maybe I should? I don't have a use for the cold salad. So, V, suffer. We'll be fine. Okay, of course you go for the one who's going to take more damage specifically because of situations. It's fine, we have exactly enough to, one more shot, another round, end of the night, it's going down, I'm yelling timber, etc, etc. So if I focus entirely on the one at the back, 4, 8, 12, and then 16 on you. Not quite enough to go the whole distance, but See, I could have taken out one there. Maybe it would have been wiser to do that. We have no TP, but V does not care about such things, so... I should just focus all my damage onto one of them, and I'm choosing not to, because I'm just irresponsible. At this point, this could be 3 episodes, god dang. I was not counting on this taking quite so long, but it's fine. I'm full of hubris, you cannot take me out. Oh, I was fully expecting to eat my words there. Okay. How are we gonna do this? I think Leaf should definitely do an attack, because they're weak to it. Can I do 5 damage and also heal in this turn? I am thinking yes. I'm thinking... I think that's not going to help us quickly enough, is the thing. And like, some of these are ingredients that I'm going to need, but it's fine. Put this onto Leaf because I want Leaf to still be around. And then have Kabu do an attack on you, and then Chompy will finish you off, and then we'll just have one left to deal with, and then that's fine. I can get on with my plans for the evening. Or you'll undercut me by 1. Ha! Leaf survived specifically because of my strategic use of healing. Right. I want Leaf to have the boosted damage, so we'll have a dash through to take out the first one. Apologies if you can hear my keyboard smashing in the background there. Well, it's not. It's more of a button mash, but on a keyboard. It's fine. You're down to 3. I can take you out on this turn. Everything worked out fine. This took substantially longer than I thought it would, but hey, we did it. Don't underestimate Deadlander Gammas like I did. And that's that. The Pit of Not 100 Trials has been completed. You did it! Congratulations! Yo! You have successfully completed the Cave of Trials. It brings me joy that I can reward you with this. Take it. A team ribbon. This can be equipped by Chompy, and while it will make her do... Well, the pretty ribbon gives her +1 attack. Taking that ribbon off will take away that +1 attack, so she'll be back down to 2, but this restores TP every time Chompy attacks. I would like that. But your journey is still far from over, my friends. If you want to keep fighting, just talk to me again and we shall begin the process once more. I no longer possess any amazing rewards, but you should still earn berries, so feel free to come back anytime. Oh, this is the first time you beat the Cave of Trials. Random mode is now available to add some spice in future challenges. We get a Tangy Berry, and we get Dark Cherries, and those are rewards for 10 and 20, I believe. Anyway, as I said, I'm late for my thing now, but it was worth it, so, actually, do we get healed automatically? We do not. Heal me. Actually, no, what? No, I can go home and heal that. So, I have been and will continue to be Tessellating Hexagons. In the next episode, we'll do something a bit less time-consuming than this, so, see you then for that.